Today we are going to start the second chapter of the lessons of economics. Now, in the second chapter, we are going to study about the name of the second chapter is utility analysis. Utility analysis. In this chapter, we will study the introduction, definition, and features. For the first slide, we will study the introduction, definition, and features. Now, let us recall that what you studied before. In the chapter utility, you have studied about wants. What is the habit of wants? You want something. Why you want something? Because you are lacking something. That is why you are in need or want of something. Now, feeling of lacking of satisfaction denotes wants. Now, what is wants? The feeling of lack of satisfaction. You want a pen. Why? Because you don't have a pen to write. So that pen become a want. Now, the chapter is utility analysis. Now, in this utility analysis, we will first explain utility. What is utility? Utility analysis explains a consumer's behavior in relation to maximization of satisfaction. So, we are the consumer. Each person's a consumer, and in this, we always consume something. We always purchase something. We always take something which we can have the maximum satisfaction. So, in this chapter, we are going to study about how we are going to satisfy ourselves and how we are going to attain the maximum satisfaction when we use some commodity. Before that, we have to study about the utility. Previous year, you studied about the utility. What is utility? Utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. In other words, utility is the want satisfying power of a good. So, this much background you must have when you study the utility. So, the definition of utility is that utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. Capacity of a commodity, any commodity. I mentioned in before a pen. A pen is having the utility when you are able to write it. If the pen, when you open the cap and you begin to write, if you are not able to write, is the pen useful to you? No. So, utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. This is the definition of utility. In other words, you can say utility is the want satisfying power of a commodity. Got? Now, we are going to study about the features of utility. How the utility is. Features. There are 10 features given in the textbook for utility. Means how does the utility, how it is, how it looks like or how it behaves like utility, what is the main thing, how can we understand the utility? For that, we have to study the features. 10 features, let me read the points, just you memorize it and keep in your mind. First one, relative concept. Second, subjective concept. Third, ethically neutral. Fourth, utility differs from usefulness. Fifth, utility differs from pleasure. Utility differs from satisfaction. Measurement of utility is hypothetical. Utility is multi-purpose. Utility depends on the intensity of want. Utility is the basis of demand. These are the 10 features. Now, when I just read out all the 10 features, you may be thinking that, oh, I didn't understand what you are reading. There are 10 features. Now, we can divide it. These features we can divide into some parts which having a common features. So, that will be memorized in your mind, that will be in your mind, that will be fixed in your mind. 3 points, 3 features first we can take. The first one is relative concept. Second, subjective concept. Third, ethically neutral. Now, you can memorize the 3 features. First, it is what it is. Say after me, relative concept, subjective concept, ethically neutral concept. Now, relative concept. First point we have taken. So, three features I just mentioned you. First one, it is what? Relative concept. Second, subjective concept. Third, ethically neutral concept. Now, we can take explanation. The points in the slides, the points are given. When you go to the textbook, while hearing the lecture, if you have the textbook with you, the explanation is written there, and accordingly you can understand. Relative concept. First point, we can take the relative concept. Now, relative concept, relative, the word is related to something. Relative, relation. So, utility is related to what? Two things we can take. Utility is related to time and place. So, in the relative concept of utility, we can take the utility is related to two things, which is time and place. So, you will write the sentence, features of utility, relative concept. Utility is related with place and time. Place we can take, or we can take time. Any one thing if we take, in the textbook, the time is taken before. According to the time, we can take winter season and summer season. So, utility, we are taking the fact, utility features is related to what? The time. In the winter season, people use which clothes? Woolen clothes, and the summer season they use cotton clothes. So, these are related. Now, place, when we say, we can same thing, we can explain that in the cold region people use place, it is shown the cold region people use what? Woolen clothes, and the hot region people use cotton clothes. Another example when we take, we can say sand is useful when it reached to the building's height for the construction of building, and if the sand is on the seashore, it is not useful, it is just lying there. Is there any use there? This sand become useful when the place changes. Where did the place change? From the seashore to the building site. So first one, utility is a relative concept because it is related to place and time. Got it? Second feature, subjective concept. Now, utility is related to subject. When you hear the word subject, what you get into mind? It is a psychological concept. Utility is a subjective concept, is a psychological concept. Utility differs from person to person. Okay. Now, we said that subjective concept. Now, subject economics, other subject mathematics. Now, if I give you a economics book to study mathematics, is it useful? No. If I give a mathematics book to study economics, is it useful? No. So, subjective concept. Likewise, feature person to person it changes. So, you have to write it is a psychological concept. Utility differs from person to person. This is due to the difference in the taste, preferences, like, dislike, nature, habit, professions. For example, given in the textbook, we can say a stethoscope is useful for whom? A doctor, not a teacher. For a teacher, what is useful? Chalk, duster, textbooks is useful while in the teaching in the class. So, these are subjective concepts. Different persons have different things. So, two features you finish. Now, ethically neutral. Utility is having a concept, it is ethically neutral. There is no any consideration, because if we get something, we can use in many ways. It is according to the persons. There is no any moral value that you have to use in the same way. For example, a knife is useful for a woman in the kitchen or housewife to cut vegetables, while this knife is used by a thief to kill or hurt others. So, there is no ethical there. Oh, no, you should use the knife for cutting vegetables only. You can't say that. Person, according to that, they can use. According to the persons, the utility is generated. So, there is no any ethical value in utility. So, 3 points we explained: relative concept, subjective concept, and ethically neutral. Now, again other 3 features we can take which have a common explanation, that is, utility differs from usefulness, Utility differs from pleasure. Utility differs from satisfaction. So in the all the 3 points you can see utility differs, and from also is same. So utility differs from usefulness, utility differs from pleasure, utility differs from satisfaction. Now what is utility differs from, what is the difference between utility and usefulness? Now we studied the definition, it is given in the screen. Utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. Now in this utility you have to write the definition, what is utility. Now what is usefulness, that we have to study. Usefulness indicates the value in use of a commodity. So utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy wants, while usefulness is the value in use of a commodity. Value in use. In a birthday you got a pen, okay, and you got a chalk, students, chalk set of packet of chalks. Which is more value for you, pen or chalk? Pen is value. So that is, there is utility, chalk is useful, but is there useful to you now? No. So there is a difference between utility. Chalk is useful to write on the board, which you are not doing. Pen is useful to write in the notebook. So both the things have utility, but for you, which is useful? Pen is useful. So this difference are there. So when we are a consumer, we have to understand these things. Utility differs from usefulness. Next, utility differs from pleasure. What is utility? Go to the screen. Capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. And what is pleasure? Pleasure means anything, the feeling that we have after using the thing, using the commodity. After using, useful, everything is useful, but after using, if you get pleasure or not pleasure, but is it useful or not useful, that there is a difference between utility. For example, it is given milk. We can say that in example it is given, the injection is useful for a patient. Will it give pleasure? No. It is useful for a patient. If he is sick, injections, he has to take the injection, has to cure the disease. But anybody will go to the hospital every day? Oh my God, I have to take an injection today. Let me go to the hospital. Very nice. I feel very happy. Is there any pleasure? No. When you become sick, you have to take injection, but that also it is little bit pain giving things. Oh, I don't like injection, but what I can do because I am sick, there is no pleasure. So utilities differ from pleasure. So you have to first write what is utility, the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants, and pleasure is that the feeling you have after using that thing. The example, you have to take the injection for the patient because to cure the disease hardly gives any enjoyment or pleasure to him. Next 6th point, it is utility differs from satisfaction. Again, utility definition, capacity of a commodity to satisfy wants. Now what is satisfaction? Satisfaction means end result of consumption. End result of consumption. Satisfaction is the end. After using it, you are getting satisfaction. Now you drink a glass of water. Wow, first glass, very good. You feel very nice, that first glass satisfaction. Second, third, fourth, fifth, satisfaction decreases. That we will study afterwards. But there is a difference. Water is useful. Now if you drink a cup of tea from your mom's hand, you will think, wow, very nice. If somebody other gave you another taste, you said, no, it was, I didn't get more satisfaction in that. So utility, you were in need of a tea, but after drinking the tea, what satisfaction is got is different. So it is said that utility differs from satisfaction. So how many points we have discussed now? 6 points. Slowly we can just memorize the 6 points. First one, relative concept. Second, subjective concept. Third, ethically neutral. Fourth, utility differs from usefulness. Fifth, utility differs from pleasure. Utility differs from satisfaction. Now remaining how many points are there? 4 points. In these 4 points, we can measurement utility is hypothetical. Measurement of utility is hypothetical. Why we say that hypothetical? Hypothetical, the meaning it is conditional. There are some conditions in that. So when we measure that, to measuring this utility, there are some conditions. Cardinal or numerical measurement of utility is not possible. Means 1 glass of water, how many satisfaction you get? 10 satisfaction, 20 satisfaction. We take that, we put the numbers, but we can't really measure it. So the cardinal or numerical measurement of utility is not possible. A thirsty person of drinking water may derive higher or lower utility. Thus, the utility can be only experienced and found either positive, 0 or negative. Negative utility is called disutility. If there is no utility, there is disutility. So there are some conditions while we measure the utility. So it is that measurement of utility is hypothetical. There we have to make some conditions, then only we measure it. Next, it is utility is multi-purpose. Why we say it multi-purpose? A commodity can satisfy the wants of more than one person. It can also be put into several uses. For example, electricity can be used to serve many purposes and for many people in many view of times. So it is multi-purpose. Means anything which we can use in many ways. So utility is multi-purpose. Utility depends on intensity of want. Utility depends on the intensity of want. What is the intensity? The recurring nature. Means how much you want a thing, you will use it. Utility depends on this intense want. Greater will be the utility. What will be the want will be the greater. And when the urgency of want declines, utility diminishes. For example, a hungry person finds more utility in food than a person who is not hungry. So how much means intensity, you want something and according that you are using that. That is the main feature, that utility depends upon the intensity of want. The last one, it is utility is the basis of demand. Why? You are demanding something. Why you are demanding? Because you have the use. You are demanding for a pen. I want a pen. Why you want a pen? Demanding for a pen. Why? Because you have an use. You want to write the notes. So it is there. So these are the 10 features of utility. First one, relative concept. Second, subjective concept. Third, ethically neutral. Utility differs from usefulness. Utility differs from pleasure. Utility differs from satisfaction. Measurement of utility is hypothetical. Utility is multi-purpose. Utility depends on the intensity of want. Utility is the basis of demand.